Alright everyone, it's time for the Occult video 162. Crush your enemies, but remember your friends. And taking off from this, we've got to remember one important thing. Sometimes something that is conducive to what we want, if what we want is destructive, may be a secret enemy that poses as a friend. This can be a person or it can be a situation. Sometimes something that is permissive becomes that. Sometimes an obstacle, as I've said, may be there for protective reasons. Like when someone's trying to stop you from doing something, they're setting yourself against some plan that you have. Even if they're wrong, and sometimes they are, in fact, most times I think they are. Sometimes it's benevolent. Like there have been people, they tried to stand in my way from like doing what I'm doing now. And when I reflect on it, like at the time, what they were saying was kind of just out of pragmatism. I don't have any real onus against them for this. They just, they weren't thinking the same way that I thought. Now, it turns out they were wrong, saying, you know, you won't sell books, you know, you can't make money on YouTube or whatever. They were wrong, but their heart essentially was in the right place. Like, there was a good reason to believe that that would be true because, you know, not many people break through on either measure. So I'm glad I made the decisions I did. But in effect, that obstacle was something just to make you pause and think about things. Are you really willing to go through with this? And that can be the case. But the thing is, those that are actual enemies, you have to remove. Now, I don't mean crush them in the physical sense. I don't mean haul off and punch somebody in the face, because that's counterproductive. My ethos is productivity, constructive egotism. Now, that is the idea is that you're creating, you're producing, you're developing yourself, you're rising above, you're elevating yourself, not trying to tear others down. Because it's far easier in some ways, people who would set themselves against you. If your heart is in the right place, theirs might not be. They may already be self-destructive. Well, then why bring out that urge in them? They do that on a regular basis for themselves. A lot of people who are ambitious shoot themselves in the foot in their ambition. But whether it's something that wants to be permissive of a fault or a problem of ours, or something that's an obstacle to something that's actually a good goal, we have to overcome those obstacles in our lives. Now, this is in the occult sense. This happens on the spiritual level all the time. Sometimes people are held back from their spiritual development by negative feelings in their personal life, by some guilt or fear they're holding on to, by undue destructive anger that they're aiming at others. And it holds them back. It keeps them from their focus. If they would let go of it, if they knew how to do that, or if they could implement the knowledge of knowing how to do that, they would perhaps succeed more easily in their spiritual lives as well as in their more secular lives, you know, their job, romance, whatever it happens to be. And I think that can be helpful for people to keep that in mind, but as the ultimate goal, you have to clear your mind enough to realize that not everything that stands in your way is an automatic enemy. A lot of people might think that. Sometimes it's someone who's actually a friend trying to keep you safe. They may be wrong. You may not agree with their judgment, but they're at least their heart is they're benevolent in what they're doing. Sometimes if someone is very encouraging of our behavior, it may be literally nothing more than, well, they're actually trying to destroy us. It might be a case of like someone trying to be your friend to gather data on you, like in a high school, and then the gossip starts. Somebody pretends to like you. Oh, yeah, I like your dress. Oh, we should hang out. And then you hang out. And a few hours later, of course, everyone's saying, oh, yeah, you know, listen to what, you know, so-and-so told me. And this happens. The stereotype is that happens more among women. I think it's more that dudes, they typically are, they don't want to be associated with engaging in gossipy behavior. I think it's sort of a weird trope that happens within the two genders. That is that one is not, socially speaking, discouraged from such activity. Males typically are in their own friend circles. If something is said between two males, typically the idea is keep it to yourself. That's not necessarily the case within the culture of the Western world. With female individuals, there is a little bit of a disconnect there. And it can happen in other ways too. But sometimes an obstacle is helpful. Sometimes something permissive is actually destructive for us. Like, say, yeah, I don't mind that you have this, you know, you're talking to your friend, oh, yeah, man, I've been smoking a lot of crack lately. Well, you know, I don't mind. The fact that you're a crackhead, I'm still your friend, you know, whatever gets you off. it's permissive. You know, you're not being told not to do something. You might think, well, what a true friend. He doesn't even care if I smoke crack. Yeah, but the thing is, it's self-destructive. It's going to destroy you probably. Leave you penniless, maybe dead, probably in jail. Is that really a true friend for permitting that kind of behavior without challenging you on it? I would say no. Likewise, if someone's saying, well, you know, your crack smoking is becoming a problem, you should give it up. And you say, no, I'm addicted to crack. It's so great. Crack is wonderful. And they say, well, I'm going to get you into rehab. I'm going to tell somebody so you get put in rehab against your will. You may think, oh, you fucking traitor. You're not my friend. Actually, they are. They're trying to probably save your life. But it's still an obstacle in your life. You have to ask yourself if your goals are benevolent too. And you've got to remember, once you clear your head, sometimes it is related to like drug use or something like that. Someone's in a terrible relationship. Like, oh no, he really loves me. I know that he leaves me the black eye every weekend, but, you know, he cares. He's just troubled. Well, bullshit. That's destructive, could lead to you being killed or constantly abused. Someone's trying to break that relationship up. They're not doing it because they're a jealous asshole. They're probably doing it because they fucking care. But the person may not perceive of it that way. Once you're removed from that situation, it can be easier to see in retrospect who the real friend was and who the real enemy was. Sometimes the enemy is the person saying, oh, you should do exactly what you want to do. Do whatever you want. Yeah, I'll still be your friend, don't worry. And that can honestly be the case. So in retrospect, it's good to make amends with people who at the time we may have perceived of as something standing in our way, but then we realize later, oh shit, they were actually right. May not be the norm, but it will probably happen in your life multiple times. Likewise, we can look back and say, well, that person who encouraged me to be like, the party lifestyle and get wasted all the time and smoke the crack, at the time I thought they were a real friend because they accepted me for who I was. Well, now they're like dead in a gulch somewhere, and I almost was dead in the gulch with them, and they were never really my friend to begin with. They were just someone who sort of clung on in their own shared misery. That's about all. Peace out.